Hi, my name is Nupur and I'm going to be showing you how to create this beautiful Indian bridal glam eye look that's going to last all day through any activities that you have planned. I'm going to be using some products from BoxyCharm to achieve this look, so if you want to know how to recreate it step by step, just keep watching. So the first step when it comes to eyeshadow is to make sure that you have an eye primer on. Eye primer is going to make sure that your eyeshadow goes on ultra pigmented, but also it's going to ensure all day wear. I already have my eye primer on, so I'm going to dive right into eyeshadow. I'm going to be using the Morphe Truth or Bare eyeshadow palette, which has this beautiful assortment of both warm tones as well as cool tones and a few true neutrals as well. Now, when I think of Indian bridal glam, I think of a beautiful, warm, gold, smoky eye, maybe with a little bit of winged liner and lots of lashes, so that's what I'm going to be going for today. I'm going to start with this shade over here, and this is going to give all the other shades something to blend into. So I'm just blending the shade throughout my crease and slowly building it up, and it won't really show up on my skin tone, but that's kind of the point because, like I said, this is just there for the other shadows to blend into. Now I'm going to slowly start building up a little bit of depth by dipping into this warm tan shade. This shade is going to go a little bit lower in the crease, mostly focusing it on the outer part of the crease, and then slowly bringing it inward with whatever pigment is left on the brush. I'm also going to bring it a little bit into the outer corner over here. But again, just with whatever pigment is left on the brush. I want a very soft wash on this part of the eye. Building up depth in small layers like this is going to give you that beautiful blend, but also it's going to make sure that the eyeshadow lasts all day. I'm also running this tan eyeshadow on my lower lash line, focusing the pigment here on the outer corner, but then slowly bringing it inwards with whatever's left on the brush. I know a lot of people are scared of eyeshadow on the lower lash line, but I think with a smoky eye, it's really necessary, and as long as you keep the rest of your makeup really light and fresh, it's not going to drag down your face. Also, now that I've added some shadow to the lower lash line, I want to make sure that the blend between the outer corner and the lower lash line is connected, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm choosing to keep this shape more rounded to suit my round eyes, but if you prefer to wing out the eyeshadow, that's totally fine. To keep building on the depth, I'm going to pick up this brown eyeshadow next. I want this eyeshadow to stay on the outer portion of my eye, so I'm going to be using very small and precise blending movements. I'm going to start by packing it right here on the outer edge of my lid and bringing it in at a slightly diagonal angle, using small tapping motions to keep the pigment exactly where I want it. And now, without picking up any more eyeshadow, I'm going to slowly start blending it out, keeping it right in this area over here. If you just move the brush like this in a circular motion, it should keep the pigment right here. And now that there isn't much pigment left on the brush at all, I'm going to slowly start bringing it inwards just to make sure there's not a harsh line with the previous shadow. I'm also taking this dark shadow on the lower lash line, but I'm focusing it right here on the outer third and not bringing it inwards anymore because I don't want to close off the eyes too much and I want them to remain pretty elongated. It's time for my favorite part, and that's to add some shimmers to this look, and I'm going to start with this gold one over here. I'm taking it on my finger for maximum pigment and then swiping it directly onto my lid. I like to switch to a brush to get into harder to reach areas like the inner portion of my lid over here. A brush is also useful to feather the shimmer upwards so that you're not getting shimmer directly in your crease. For the remaining portion of the lid, I'm going to be dipping into this shimmer over here. I'm tapping this on the outer third of my lid first, and then I'm slowly bringing it in at a slightly diagonal angle, mirroring that dark matte that we put down. I know a lot of people are afraid of dark shimmers, just like they're afraid of putting eyeshadow on the lower lash line, but this is one of my favorite ways to use them because you're adding to the smokiness of the look over here while still having a little bit of light reflection, and it's less intimidating than putting the dark shimmer over your entire lid. So now it's time to add some winged eyeliner, and I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite ways to do that. And I'm actually going to be using eyeshadow to do the wing, specifically this shade over here. The thing with using eyeshadow to do a winged liner is you can control the intensity or the softness of the wing to your preferences. If you want to do a super smudgy, smoked out wing, you can do that with a fluffier brush, or you can use a more precise brush to do a super sharp wing. For myself, I'm going to be doing something a little bit in between the two. I'm starting first by lining my lash line. I usually like to start in the middle and then take it outwards, slowly creeping inwards as there's less and less pigment on the brush. So you can see this is just a soft smudgy line with one layer, and you can stop here if you want, but I'm going to build it up to match this eye. Now that both eyes are matching, I can start mapping out the wing, and what I like to do is just follow my lower waterline and extend this outward at this angle so that it looks very natural. Working with eyeshadow makes it so easy because it's kind of foolproof. You can work in very small movements like this and go at your own pace. I'm stopping the wing right here because I don't want to go past the edge of my eyebrow. So now I'm going to start bringing the wing back inwards. This time I'm going to start the wing right here and bring it back in because I don't want to add to this point over here and make it thicker, so that's why I'm starting right here and bringing it down at an angle. Again, working in very short, small movements. Just take your time with this. And I'm also going ahead and filling in the wing. Finally, with whatever's left in the brush, I'm just sort of connecting the wing to my lower lash line. Now I have to make the other eye match, so let me do that off camera and I'll be right back. You know what they say about eyeliner, they're sisters and not twins. And truthfully, nobody should be looking that closely at your eyeliner anyway. I'm gonna finish up the eyeshadow by adding a little bit of this shade in the inner corner. Just a little dab of it right here to make sure that we're bringing some light to the area, because with a smoky eye, we wanna make sure that we're not closing off the eyes, and a key part of that is to add some brightness right here. So now that the eyeshadow is all completed, I have to finish up the look with some lashes, of course, and I'm going to be using the Blink Amplified Tubing Mascara. I'm going to read you the back of the packaging really quickly because I feel like it perfectly tells you how this mascara works. It forms ultra long wearing, tiny water resistant tubes around each of your lashes that cannot run, smudge, clump, or flake even if you cry, sweat, or rub your eyes, which tell me that isn't perfect for a bride. This is what the wand looks like, and I feel like this kind of wand really helps give you that wispy, voluminous effect to your lashes. But before I can go in with the mascara, I first have to curl my lashes. To make sure you get a lot of volume, you want to really get it into the root of the lash first, wiggling it a bit here, and then bring it upwards and outwards. I'm just making sure that I'm coating every single lash here. I love wands that come to a point like this because then it makes it easy to target individual lashes that you may have missed, as well as get into the inner portion like this without getting mascara everywhere. So here's one coat of mascara on both eyes, and of course it's not going to be falsies level of drama and volume, but when I put this much effort into my eyeshadow, I don't want to cover this up with falsies. I just want a nice, good mascara. And the best thing about tubing mascara is when it comes time to take it off, you're not going to get that like smudgy raccoon eye effect all around your eyes. It's just going to come off in these tiny little tubes and it makes removal such a breeze. Here's the final look. I went ahead and added a bindi and some jhumka earrings, which I feel really tied the look together. And this is exactly why I wanted to do a gold smoky eye, because so much of Indian bridal wear involves gold, whether that's in the jewelry or on the outfit. And I feel like this look is just, it's perfect. If you want to recreate this look using these products, make sure to subscribe to BoxyCharm. Before you go, please don't forget to give this video a like, and happy wedding season. Bye!